It's our political roundtable on Unplugged. Welcome, Delegate Tony O'Donnell, Minority Leader representing Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's counties.
Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming up.
Good to be here.
All right, Tony, we're not talking about your day job. We're talking about your evening job, your morning job, and your job in between, which is running for Congress. The national issues you're talking about, you're doing a lot of door-to-door, right?
Absolutely.
So what are you hearing out there? I know there's some anger. What are you feeling in this district?
You know, it's a very diverse district. It goes from very urban areas in Prince George's County to very rural areas in southern Charles and St. Mary's and Calvert County and Anne Arundel County. But everywhere in the district, everybody wants to get this country back on track. They think that Congress is not doing the job. Those approval ratings for Congress are very high, and people are very angry. And they're saying, look, these folks aren't doing the job up there. They're not getting the job done. They want this country back on track, and they want small jobs and businesses to be made and flourished. And
this election cycle is about small business. We talk about it all the time. You get the feedback. You see the national candidates fighting over, he didn't build that, she didn't build that, he said, she said. How did the president's remark go over, and what kind of feedback are you receiving just in the last week or two?
Yeah, a lot of folks who really have struggled for 20, 30 years, they work 6, 7 days a week, didn't take a vacation. They were very offended by that. They struggled very hard, and they pride themselves on creating jobs for families in our communities. And when the president said, well, you didn't really build that we all kind of build it together, someone else did it for you, it was very offensive, because we pride ourselves on our initiative and our entrepreneurial spirit in this country, and people take great pride in that, and it's really what has built this country. And it was sad to see that. We'll see what happens, but I can tell you that people know that small businesses, all they need is for government to quit getting in their way and quit hurting them. Leave them be consistent, leave them plan, leave them get their act together, and if government gets out of their way to that extent, this economy can take off.
And in the 5th District, people are hurting. There's been job loss, a lot of foreclosures too as well.
Very high foreclosure rate in Prince George's County and Charles County, some of the highest areas in the other counties in the district, some of the highest in the state. And the unemployment rate in the minority community is very high, and the youth in the summertime, the unemployment rate very high, and very, very devastating to the minority community.
But
right
Tony,
now.
We've had this discussion on camera, off camera for decades, it seems. You're right, minority community hurting, yet voting patterns really do not change. No. What are you doing? You go to churches, you go to community association events. What are you doing to try to break into that number with regard to African
Americans? And do you feel folks are listening to you?
Yeah, I mean, we're beginning. We're making some strides. We're working very closely with folks who are upset with redistricting. Folks in that community were upset that Steny Hoyer and the Democrat establishment, Mike Miller, Steny Hoyer, and what's perceived as the old boy establishment, took care of themselves first. One, they cut a seat for Rob Garagiola, which really...
They always take care of themselves first, Tony.
And he lost in the primary. Two, people are not happy in the churches, in the faith community across the board with both the assaults on religious freedoms and same-sex marriage. And it's resonating very well, and giving a guy like me, a conservative Republican, an opportunity to speak to folks who normally would say, and we're actually working very closely with some folks. In fact, Delegate Burns and I are going to be rolling out an initiative, a bipartisan initiative, so we can work together in a bipartisan fashion supporting these issues around faith and around marriage and the definition.
It seems to me you have two challenges. One, we just talked about African American, getting that number up to some level, and also crossover Democrats, obviously. Crossover Democrats in these counties, middle income Democrats, working class Democrats who may vote up ballot Republican. You have to get them to do that, to vote against Steny Hoyer. How do you do it?
Well, the thing that's working and resonating very well in a large part of the district is the national debt. People are saying, hey, wait a minute, we're mortgaging our children's future. Our kids are going to have to pay this off. Our grandkids are going to have to pay this off. And across party lines, people are saying, no, we shouldn't be doing this. So
what are you hearing about Obamacare, too?
Yeah,
in light of the 5-4 decision?
Of course, a lot of folks on our side of the aisle, they want it repealed. They want it repealed. They don't want the uncertainty, and they want it taken away. Others in certain areas of my district, which is a very diverse district, as you might imagine, really like it. But here's what we do know. if we continue to pursue this healthcare system and the costs are so unstable, so that we're going to have higher unemployment going forward. It's going to, depress the economy even further. The GDP numbers come out the other day. We're at a 1.5% growth rate in this country. We can't support the spending that we have, and we can't support job creation at that
15
level.
seconds left. Leader.
Well, how do people get in touch?
Candidate, or your VP candidate first? National ticket, your VP.
Look, I like Marco Rubio.
Okay.
I like the Rob Portman from Ohio. I like a lot of folks out there. So.
And how do folks get in touch with you to help with your campaign?
Go to o'donnellforcongress.com, the word FOR, o'donnellforcongress.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We got all the fancy things going
All of
on
it going.
there. But,
Thanks, Tony.